U.S. The night Caracas fell. The world woke up on January 3rd, 2026, to an impossible headline. Nicolas Maduro, president of Venezuela, had vanished. Not through a coup, but through a surgical, lightning-fast U.S. military operation. This wasn't just a raid. It was a brazen statement, executed with technology many believed was still decades away. Operation Absolute Resolve, a name that sounded straight out of a spy novel. In less than 3 hours, without a single major engagement or widespread civilian casualties, the U.S. military penetrated Venezuela's heavily defended airspace, extracted its leader, and ignited a new global energy war. This wasn't just about a president. It was about 300 billion barrels of oil, the largest proven reserves on Earth, and a global economy teetering on the brink. The night Caracas fell, the price of oil plummeted, and the geopolitical map of the Western Hemisphere was redrawn. For years, Venezuela had been a ticking time bomb. Decades of economic mismanagement, coupled with U.S. sanctions, had crippled the nation. By late 2025, oil production, once a powerhouse, had dwindled to a trickle, exacerbated by a massive shadow trade network bypassing international law. Global oil prices, pushed by instability elsewhere and the diminishing supply from rogue states, were soaring past $100 a barrel. The U.S. administration, facing a volatile election year in 2026, identified the crisis as an existential threat to its economy and influence. The strategic imperative was clear: stabilize global energy markets, restore Venezuelan output, and, in doing so, regain a critical lever of global power. For Washington, Operation Absolute Resolve was not merely about regime change. It was about market correction on a global scale. The tactical brilliance of Absolute Resolve lay in its unprecedented stealth. Venezuelan airspace, heavily guarded by Russian-made S-300 missile systems, should have been impenetrable. But U.S. intelligence had spent years mapping every radar shadow, every communication frequency. The opening salvo was electronic, not kinetic. Advanced electronic warfare systems, nicknamed Project Spectre, rendered Venezuela's air defenses effectively blind and deaf. While the S-300 operators stared at static, low-flying assault helicopters and stealth transports delivered elite U.S. forces directly into the heart of Caracas. Crucially, initial reports confirmed the use of non-kinetic sonic weaponry. These classified devices were able to disorient and incapacitate key security personnel around Maduro's fortified compound without firing a single bullet. This minimized resistance and ensured a lightning-fast breach. In the pre-dawn hours of January 3rd, Nicolas Maduro was apprehended, secured, and airlifted out of Venezuela. By the time most of Caracas stirred, its leader was already en route to a federal court in New York, facing charges of narcoterrorism. The capture was complete. The immediate global reaction was polarized. Washington praised the precision and humanitarian nature of the operation, while Moscow and Beijing condemned it as an illegal invasion and a violation of sovereignty. But the true objective quickly became apparent. Within days, U.S. technical teams were on the ground in Venezuela, assessing and restarting dormant oil fields. A massive 50 million barrel oil deal was swiftly signed with the interim government, stabilizing world markets and pushing oil prices down to the targeted $50 a barrel. Legally, the U.S. framed it as a law enforcement action against a designated narcoterrorist. Politically, it was a reassertion of the Monroe Doctrine, not just as a shield against foreign influence, but as a sword to secure critical resources within its sphere of influence. The message was clear. In 2026, the U.S. would not stand by as global energy or resource security was threatened. Moscow and Beijing, major creditors and allies of the Maduro regime, were visibly stunned. Their initial outrage, however, quickly transitioned into strategic reassessment. For Russia, Venezuela was a key outpost in America's backyard. Its loss was a significant blow to their global influence. China, meanwhile, viewed the operation as a direct challenge to its growing economic and political footprint in Latin America. Their response has been more subtle: a rapid acceleration of resource acquisition in other developing nations, particularly for critical minerals like lithium, and heightened naval presence in the South China Sea. The 2026 Venezuela capture, far from being an isolated incident, has become a pivotal moment in what many are calling the resource Cold War. It set a dangerous precedent, and its ripple effects are already being felt, from the scramble for Greenland's rare earths to the escalating tensions in the Pacific. As of late January 2026, the short-term goal of stabilizing oil prices has been achieved. But the long-term consequences of Operation Absolute Resolve are still unfolding. Has the world entered an era where resource security directly justifies unilateral military action? The night Caracas fell was a testament to technological prowess and strategic audacity. But it also raises profound questions about sovereignty, international law, and the price the world might ultimately pay for cheap oil. The dust has settled in Venezuela, but the tremors have only just begun.